In other words, so places obviously where you're invited. So you have faithful, you have people who are serious and devout will come out on a Saturday morning and can refine their thinking, maybe get some new arguments, and you go back and then you can spread that. And then places where you're invited but not for this. So Sunday Mass, a homily, it's Feast of St. James, and on this closest Sunday I preach on this every year. And so, we help out at various parishes. So I wasn't invited to talk on Humanae Vitae. I was invited to preach the gospel, and that's what I do. And people will, and then some people are delighted, some people are challenged and silent, some people, and I've had people in this area, not too many, but in Rhode Island, my own parish, St. Pius V parish, as a matter of fact, people would leave. One time I didn't even mention, one time I not even started. And the other thing is, I'm not beating anybody over the head. It's not, that doesn't get us anywhere. But just expose the teaching, and it's brilliant. And then, I'm not. It's between you and God. But I mean, this. I think I just said, there's one of the most controversial teachings, and I think I didn't even know if I mentioned the name. Boom! This guy stands up, storms out the side door. One time I had a vocal dissenter afterwards, he said, and he was talking about transferring, misplacing their true motives in arguments. He first started out, he said, I was too young to. He didn't have a problem with the teaching, but who was I? I was too young to be talking about this. Also, I should have asked him how old he thought I was. I think he thought I was like, 20, 21 or 18 or something. But I was 30. I was a deacon. I was 33. So, but sure enough, when we probed it, he did have a problem with the teaching. But what shocked me, and this happened more than once. I said, well, wait a minute. What did you hear me say? Because a lot of times you'll say something and people will just, they have their own. They hear something else or goes through the filter, and we all do this to a degree. Well, he gave me back exactly, perfectly, right on the money. I was shocked. I said, that's it. You are right. So at least you're criticizing me for the right thing. But for instance, on in vitro fertilization, I preached on once, and one woman said afterwards, and I'm glad when they come up to talk to me. That's a good sign. At least there's an exchange. She said, so are you throwing me out of the church? I said, no, I'm preaching the gospel. She said, well, she corrected me at one point, which I said, thank you, and I corrected it in the later Mass homily, because I had said that the embryo was destroyed, and this is true. She said, well, I froze mine. And I said, okay, well, there's one more option. I didn't include, you're right. And I said, some solution. And she said, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. Because I talked about adoption, she said how expensive it was. And I said, well, you've had the gospel preached to you. That's. So, and then also, for instance, we have, and this is, you get a mixed crowd. So theology on tap in Arlington Diocese I gave was a lot of fun. I didn't expect it to be. There was a lot of energy. People, just a lot of funny things. Turns of phrases or questions brought up. It just worked out really well. And I ended up. First, so then afterwards I just sat down and I would receive whoever wanted to come talk to me. And one gentleman came by and he said, I just want you to know, the guy standing next to me said, I came in against and I'm leaving in favor. See, wow. You just need to tell some people, you just need to explain it. That's all you need to do. And then I'm sitting across from a couple with two children. They're Methodists or something, they're not Catholic. But they come, the father says, can I have, because I have my copy of Humanae Vitae, can I have this and give this to him? And he gives it to his son, who, looked embarrassed just because of what the father was doing, but he wasn't like, he didn't want it. And the wife said, we were misled, unfortunately. And so here's a Methodist guy. We were misled. In other words, they accepted it, and I don't know what that means. If she had a ligation, I figured something like that. But so here's a Christian, not even Catholic. They're coming to theology on tap, so they have some interest. This is not maybe your average Protestant couple, but who hear it, and it's, of course, they're just, they have no problem. In fact, you would say, we were misled. So I think anywhere you can, also for you all, you'll be in conversation. And if you're ready, that's the thing, you really have to be ready. So just think through it and get, I hope I've given you a possible outline. Because it'll come at work. Someone will just throw it out there, or a family member will say, or you'll be at a wedding reception. That's for people come up and you think this would never come up, and so. But if you're ready, then you can say, because otherwise, at first, if you're not ready, what happens is you don't want to offend, and is it going to make it worse? And if you don't have all the arguments, and everybody's looking, but if you're ready, you say, oh, that's really interesting. Now, do you know who does this teaching apply to? And they'll be there, what? And then when you just spell it out, it's really clarified. So I say anywhere you can, and the bishops, I don't know how this should be said, but seem to be becoming more vocal on abortion. God be praised. So maybe this will be next. But in other words, we don't have to wait for really strong direction from the legitimate authorities. I mean, it's written it comes from the Holy Father, so there's legitimate authority. It's done. But you could say, should there be a campaign? I mean, why not? I mean, you could save marriages, and also it elucidates other teachings as well, chastity, and so I'd say where to start. Anywhere you can. Anywhere you can. For instance, I'm sure I imagine. Do you teach this at some point to the 10th graders? Yeah, and so so for instance, if the children, they'll sometimes talk to their parent. So anywhere we can, and you find you'll get a good reception sometimes in surprising places, and you might get opposition in places you wouldn't expect it. So, yes, ma'am.
Will it be more easy to simplify it that artificial contraception is not accepted in our Catholic religion, and from there, because there's so many, we'll give an example, such and such and such. They will weigh it to the point that they will make it more reasonable on their part why they did it. But if you start like artificial contraception is not accepted, there is no ifs and buts, and then later it's up to the one who's asking you, yeah, but I have 5 children, my uterus is out, or I have this RH something. I make it as simple as I don't say it's up to you, I just say your conscience. But in our religion, if you're talking to a Catholic, we don't, any form of artificial contraception is not acceptable. Either way, I'm not a priest, I'm not anything. Maybe you can check with your priest. Is that a good also way of accepting? But sometimes I'm the one who is defending it, and I don't know anything much about it. I just ended up like, check with your pastor, check on this. That will be my ending. Similarly,
sometimes that's not a good idea.
Did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that sometimes you can also use it as an opportunity to talk about natural family planning, which I think really explains the teaching so beautifully to all these younger people. And once they see it, especially people who are, concerned about natural and organic and all this kind of health issues, I think the natural family planning, discusses about the harmful effects of birth control and the IUD and all the different types of things. So they bring in the church teaching, tell you about the bad effects of all the other things, and I think present it in a really good way. And so you're not just saying no, you're saying, well, you're giving them an alternative. You're telling them there is another way, and it's and even for the lady who because basically if you are using the natural family planning method, it brings in the idea of courtship and the beautiful parts that people sometimes forget about.
Sure, fall away after many years.
So it's Catholic. It's a good way to.
So Catholic has no options. Always artificial contraception is out.
That's
Not
right.
like abortion, they say in case of such this incest, but artificial contraception, even incest.
No, that's not right about abortion.